All right, thank you for staying with us on Daybreak. We have the Member of Parliament for Nambale, Geoffrey Mulanya. We have Advocate Duncan Okach. We also have the Member of Parliament for Tetu, Geoffrey Wandeto. So, gentlemen, Raila Odinga asked this question on the front page of the Daily Nation. Who told you ODM will not have a candidate in 2027? And he went on to explain how why, let me say, the reason behind his, entering into this broad-based arrangement. And he said, the military was going to step in and would rather have a civilian process where we can remove leaders through the ballot. What did you make of his statement, Mheshimiwa?
Yeah, thank you, Olive. I really support Raila Odinga's statement yesterday because reflecting on where we were at that particular time, the year 2024, then he was very patriotic. He really sacrificed a lot, sacrificed his career, until now his supporters now came in and said that now you would not have done this, and because they also carried an ambition of one day Raila being a president. So now Raila, I'm sure he has realized that he still have his troops that are pushing him, that you must be on the ballot. And he's assuring them that he has not given up his political ambition. So I can say that I cannot read too much into it, but I believe that he's just trying to whip his house into order in preparation for 2007 because elections. Because you see, I'm not sure if Raila will be on the ballot, but he's preparing his troops so that, in this country, you cannot enter into the presidential race as a single horse. It must through coalition so that for seriousness. So for you to get into any coalition, you don't just go to coalition alone. You go with your foot soldiers. And for your foot soldiers must be prepared. So what he's doing right now is trying to prepare his foot soldiers, those who are trying to run away, and trying to bring them back and say, behold, we are not yet there, that we are not vying for president, but ODM will be on the ballot. That's what the Secretary General have been saying, that 2027, ODM will have a candidate. And now the party leader is just reiterating the same statement.
All right.
Yes.
Wakili, do you think this will calm the storm within ODM? It's been a deeply divisive issue.
Yeah, I don't think it will calm the storm, and maybe I do not also agree with Mheshimiwa to the extent that the realities of the constitution that we have was to bring some dignity, a certainty in terms of our politics and hygiene, such that if you are a party, you are supposed to be seeking power, and not seeking power for the sake of it, but seeking power so that you actually capture the aspirations of the Kenyans who will put you in power vis-a-vis the agendas you have put in place. At this particular point, you find that each party is supposed to have its uniqueness. That's why you'd say, I belong to DCP, I belong to ODM, I belong to UDA, because of certain ethos that that particular party stands for. And the moment you find that you are going into a coalition, it must be a coalition of purpose. It's not just a coalition for the sake of it. There must be a purpose such that if, that's why you find it's very difficult for a Muslim and a Christian to marry, no matter how much they will say they love each other. There are other things, principles that will affect. So the moment you find that Raila is supposed to be, the opposition leader in terms of the architecture that we have, but now he's ideally in actually government itself, and together with his troops. But he's still the same person who comes and tells you that now we are not in government. Remember, when he says this, the so-called experts have come out clearly and they have said, and they've said it in the presence of the president, we are with you and we are going with you all the way to 2032. And those are very key people in ODM. Yeah. Raila himself, in a funeral just the other day, repeated these same sentiments there. Then when Sifuna went against the grain, people bashed him. People bashed Orengo. What are you saying? And you are going against what Baba said. Tomorrow, Baba now has done an about turn. And you can see what he said yesterday. And you can see Junet, who was among the people who were, bashing the Sifunas, is now saying what Baba says refer to the speech. Yes. Now you wonder. Now you wonder, what is this? You must have some basic principles in terms of what you stand for. And if Raila causes such confusion to this major party, there is a big question now, even amongst his followers, you know, and that thing is actually bringing issues to this party in terms of even the by-elections that we are going to have. People on the ground do not even know. Even these parties, they do not know in terms of UD and ODM. Now, are we together? Are we not together? Are we fielding candidates? Are we not? Because the confusion that is there has never been witnessed in this country. And the sooner that Raila makes a decision, you know, you must decide, do I want to eat with you or I don't want to eat with you? You must make that decision. Otherwise, it will be very bad that today I say I'm saved, tomorrow I'm not saved, in the afternoon you must at least choose one and say that if I'm an atheist, I will stand and say I'm an atheist, there's no God. If I say I'm a believer, I am a believer. But in terms, once we have this major party dancing like this, it sends a very bad message, and you compare it with many parties which have been there over time. Today they are celebrating 20 years of being there. If there are parties that have been there, if you look at the US, if you look at England, if you look at even South Africa, and their principles have remained firm, and they will say, even if you invite me to power, unless 1, 2, 3 agendas are there, that's it. And people vote based on that. President Ruto has said the last elections should have been the first elections that will make Kenyans vote on ideologies, on ideas, and not on tribe. But now, if you look at it in terms of what we are condoning now, we do not even know in terms of why we'll be voting for this particular individual, this particular party, when it comes to 2027, if there are no ideologies that are in place. And that is not only for Raila, I think. It is for everyone. DCP leaders, all parties must fashion themselves in terms of what they stand for before you even decide that you are going for any coalition.
Okay. Yeah. So Wakili clearly says he doesn't know what to believe, right? But do you think Raila Odinga's remarks that, you know, he entered into this broad-based arrangement to save the country, to pull the country back from the brink, was sincere? Mheshimiwa Wandeto.
Well, just like Wakili has said, I think Baba is putting everyone on a guessing game.
Is that not his style of politics?
I think it is. It is a continuation of his style of politics that we have seen for a long time. Yesterday he said, you know, as far as he's concerned, he was just like an emergency doctor who just helped to save the patient, called Kenya. Now that the patient is in stable condition, he has no further responsibilities. So, but the statement that he said is significant in a number of ways. First of all, it puts to a sudden halt the Kumi Bila breaks push by his legislators. I know a number of his legislators have been you know, out there. They have come to this show many times. You know, talking even more eloquently than those of us, you know, or than even the UDA members, you know, trying to push the Kumi Bila breaks. So I don't know whether he is joining the one-term movement or how to interpret this. But the other thing I foresee is that he could also just be raising the stakes, you know, for a better deal making for 2027. And I'll not be surprised that maybe he'll force the president to cede even more. Between now and 2027, he may force the president to cede more by just appearing to pull back. I'm sure his legislators will be here saying there is no deal in 2027, just like they started yesterday. And they'll say there is no deal, we are leaving government, we have a candidate, we have a what. You know, this whole thing you saw started with Sifuna. Baba is saying this, Sifuna is saying this. Like Wakili said here, the ODM MPs would bash all of them, bash Sifuna and Babu Owino and the rest. You know, then yesterday he sort of like just calms down the storm, you know, and says, you know, look here, we have not even decided. We were just basically, you know, offering some support services, but now we are planning ourselves. So it's a guessing game. But from where I sit, I doubt he'll be on the ballot. I think he'll just be probably a very big stakeholder in the next general election. And maybe not just in the next general election, even before. Don't be surprised to see maybe half of the cabinet, half of the PSAs, half of the appointments coming from Baba.
Okay.
Olive, let me pick from where my colleague has just left.
Lastly, on this issue, so that we get into...
We are in preparation for 2027 general election. And even the opposition. You saw the other day, the former deputy president saying from the opposition side, they have been saying that we want a united opposition. But he came out and said, I'll be on the ballot myself.
Are you talking about Rigathi Gachagua?
Yes, he said it. But are you sure that he'll be on the ballot? And yet, on the other side, they're saying, we want one opposition candidate. So every team is preparing their house, trying to put their house in order. And the way he's saying, Raila is trying to whip his foot soldiers and tell them, come back. So that now, when you are in the one house, it becomes easier for you to now map out your directions on where you want to go. Whether you want to go it alone, whether you want to go into a coalition, it becomes much better.
I think he just realized his troops maybe were crying more than they believed, yeah?
Yes.
And which is risky. When the troops are the ones supporting government even more than the government people themselves, then you want to pull back.
Yes. Something as now we transition into maneno ya bunge, there's something interesting you said. You said we are now preparing for
2027. Yes.
How much focus really will be on house business as we see the by-elections approaching in November, and how much focus will be on campaigning? Because it seems already we are in campaign season proper, despite what the IEBC says. Wakili.
Of course, Kenyans have been on a campaign. It's something that we suffer from. Immediately after an election, we are on a campaign mode, and it continues all through. So the reality is that, and you can see that Raila has even tried to tell members of parliament not to be, not to lose focus, because people are campaigning on the ground and they want their seats. And it seems that he's already realized that this is making these members of parliament to lose focus, because now you are at a point where you have to discharge your constitutional mandate. But on this other side, people are already salivating, and they are on the ground wanting this particular seat in 2027. But the reality of it is that members of parliament are political animals. So they must be able to multitask, because parliament is something that they must attend, they must undertake their legislative functions, but they're also facilitated to go back to the constituencies through the taxpayer to also deal with the people who elected them and deal with the local issues. So it's something that I believe they're able to multitask. It shouldn't be something that will affect them. But I know from next year, August, when we have just 1 year down the line, that's when they will totally lose focus. And I think that's why, even in terms of this agenda, Raila is trying to tell these members that even as they are going back to the House, they must now refocus, because their time is limited. There's so much that they need to achieve, and there's so much that in terms of what they promised their electorates, they still need to individually achieve on the other ground. So it's a balancing act, which I think they are best, and I'm in between the two Joffreys. It's Duncan in between the two Joffreys, members of parliament. They can say it better.
All right, I'll start with you.